So what is it that you desire? Rusty old coins like you mortals are wont to collect, perhaps?
We are resolved to vanquish the Light Warden of this land. To that end, we desire entry to Ligia.
What a strange thing to wish for. You might as well ask for your death. But if that is what you want, who are we to argue? Very well, I shall speak with the others. You've been clearly busy, Urianger. Would you be so kind as to tell us what we've missed? So it was the purpose of the gifts. So that was the purpose of the gifts. Is there anything you can tell us about this Light Warden?
Aye, my lady. By circumstances most tragic, the Light Warden of this land is our king and ruler, Titania.
Oh. It was not always so, of course. Our king fought the first Light Warden that threatened our home, you see. Fought it and won. But all the horrible light that came out went and corrupted them, turning them into a new Light Warden. Now they're king only in name, not remains of the wise and just ruler that used to be. We had no choice but to seal them in the castle. The magic for breaking the seal we divided into 4 and wove each into a different relic to be kept apart until the time was right. And I just so happen to have all 4 of them collected right now just for you because we don't have the budget. And this dress is one of them. It's been our safekeeping for years and years, but we've decided to entrust it to you. Are you sure? Of course. Custom demands it. Though you're most certainly going to your dance, we thought we should at least let you try. That way we get to watch what happens. Of course, you can't break the seal unless you have the other relics too. The shell crown is with the Ffxiv, the stone scepter is with the New Mu, and the crystal stones are with the Amaro. Good luck finding them all.
The facts thus disclosed confirm mine own understanding. Our quest lieth now before us. First, let us heed to the lake, there to claim the shell crown from the Ffxiv. If we call to them before the untouchable gate, they will answer.
Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Let's get my dailies done. Get that gil. Need that gil all day, every day. Oh, to have so many mortals visiting us, I can scarcely contain my excitement. I know a really fun game. Come with me and we'll have oodles of fun together. Do 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 do.
share these findings. Initiate soul extraction. Success. The soul rebels. My word, this data. Let this moment last, friend. the strength. Power to transcend.
Yeah, thanks. Fucking thanks. Piece of shit fucking game. I'll be your queen bee, honey bee, lovely. I'll be your sword fight workers, near and far. Help us, please. I swear this is not a trick. You see, there are these scary bears that terrorize us. Rose bears, they're called, and we're usually able to drive them away, but of late, one that's bigger, fiercer, and hungrier than the rest has appeared. We're too scared to try anything on it, small and weak as we are, but you're much bigger and stronger than us. If someone can deal with that rabid beast, I believe you can. Now, the ordinary rose bears are known to prowl the area east of here. If you were to slay a few of them, it should lure out the more fearsome kin. And when it does, I want you to slay it too. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba.
Guys, my Switch 2 was delayed by a whole day. I never actually got it on release day. I was a little bit upset, but no big deal, because at the end of the day there's not too much out day one. Really the only game I was getting was Mario Kart World. So I've been spending the past couple of days catching up on this game, and I've got a few opinions about it that I kind of want to share here about the game, and they're not entirely what I thought the game was going to be like. I've got no problem admitting right now to you guys how I honestly thought Mario Kart World was going to be. When we first seen the reveal footage for Mario Kart World, I said to people in my stream, the game was going to be open world. There's no way this game won't be open world. Some people disagreed, but that's what we ended up getting to some degree. Now, how I actually thought this game was going to play out, kind of, was similar to the Forza Horizon series, if any of you guys have ever played a game in that series. I honestly recommend it. There's some of the more better racing games out there and you'll have a lot of fun. But the way the open world works in that game is, it's a huge open world and you drive to the portions on the map where all the races are. You basically take part in the race and you get transported to the field. That's how it works in Forza Horizon. There's obviously a bunch of other stuff you can do on the map, but I genuinely thought Mario Kart World was going to take a page out of the Forza Horizon series, and that is not what we ended up getting here whatsoever. That's why you do have to temper expectations with games, but I think a lot was kind of like on the line here with this Mario Kart World. Charging $80 for a day one game is outstanding and kind of says to me that there's going to be a certain level of quality here for this video game, especially given Nintendo's reputation over the years. They've created a lot of Class A games that people consider very, very good, top tier, and I can honestly say that I feel like Mario Kart World is one of the most unfinished games I have played from Nintendo in a long time. And considering this game was supposed to be 8 years in development, I just don't know if I actually believe that coming away from the game now. For myself, I'm not saying the game is not fun, but I honestly don't think this game is going to have as big a lifespan as previous Mario Karts because of the way it's structured. I feel like I'm kind of already done with the game because it doesn't really leave a lot of replayability for myself. The open world aspect of the game is completely separate from the Grand Prix, and I honestly did not think that's how the game was going to be. Like I said, I thought it would be kind of similar to like Forza or something, but they're two completely separate modes, and I honestly don't really think the free roam has a lot going for it. You're just driving around, honestly, an empty field, and it's one of the things I was talking about in the Neo video, where there's a lot of open worlds being created these days that are like, got nothing in between A and B, and that's kind of what it feels like in Mario Kart World here. Sure, there's a few things to do in the open world, like finding the Peach coins and going around and running over the question mark symbols, but guess what you get from both of those is
Nothing.
honestly just stickers. It really leaves a lot to be desired for the open world. You don't really get rewarded for going around it. It's kind of just I think it's just supposed to be a sightseeing mode, really, where people who like the Mario world can go around and point and look and say, oh wow, there's Bowser's castle. But like, to me, if there's like nothing going on, really, what is the point? A lot of people have been enjoying the trick sections that you can do in the game with the P switches. I've done several of them, not that many, because I kind of feel like they're all pretty similar to the last one I'd done. It's not that I don't appreciate that they're there, but it's literally the only thing worth doing in this huge open world, and I personally feel like there should be a lot more to do in this open world than just going on the P switches. Nonetheless, the part I enjoy the most about the game is of course the Grand Prix, and I feel like it's a complete step back from what they've done in previous games. I have to be honest here. The first gripe I'm going to get out the way, because we have to select our character before we go into the Grand Prix. I genuinely am baffled why somebody at Nintendo thought it was a good idea to have costumes as a separate character on the character select screen. Part of me feels like this can't be real, even when I'm still going into the character select screen now. It's just one of the oddest decisions that I've ever seen. Having like 4 Peaches on the character select screen is terrible in my opinion. I would be baffled if they did not fix this in an update because of feedback from people. I think you should be able to just select someone like Peach or Boo and then select the costume after you've done selecting the character. I feel like it would clean up the main character select screen so much better, and it would just be better to navigate as a whole. And I honestly do have to say though, I'm really no impressed with the new little mini characters that are in the game being treated as a separate character. I've never personally wanted to play as Fishbones or like a fish. If you guys have, more power to you, but I feel like it kind of takes away from, you know, the characters of Mario Kart here. And it's a bit cheap to just say it's the biggest Mario Kart because they've added in some really silly characters, you know. Sure, we can all have fun with the cow, and I don't mind some of them, but I think most of them shouldn't be there, personally. You know, this next part is hard to explain about the Grand Prix. I'm sure people are probably better at explaining it than me, because even when I'm like trying to say it out loud now, it doesn't even make...
First week Thunder's Day, the princess being partial to the lakefront view, it was decided that the noble lords and ladies would set out for a picnic. Having partaken of sweets, Her Highness ventured to the water, where she inspected her lip paint in the reflection. This caused the watching shepherds to remark that the princess had used the lake as her hand mirror. Oh, there's a hand mirror lake to the southwest of here. That must be how it got its name. But who would go all the way to the lake just to eat? Yet another silly thing you mortals do. Good Janana's Grace was named for Her Royal Highness Princess Janana, daughter to the king 3 generations prior. In the dark of night, that mountain pass catches the light which shines forth from the castle, giving it the impression of the princess's beautiful eyes of jade. Eyes of jade? That sounds lovely. If the princess were here, I would ask for them. We pixies don't much like being here. Too dusty and musty and close. So quickly, pick out some books and read them to me. On the occasion of the 300th year of the founding of Vobert, a grand celebration was held in Grunis Lich. No expense was spared. Over the course of the festivities, guests were lavishly feasted and regaled with wondrous performances. Yet amidst all the pomp and pageantry, naught was more stirring than the recitation of the Oath of the Covenant, in honor of the alliance between John and Galgent, upon which the kingdom was built. Representatives of each race took to the podium. 'Twas a sight to draw tears from all who looked on. Voberts. Blah! What strange names you mortals have. Ilmig sounds much prettier. It's the kingdom of rainbows. Well, I certainly learned lots of new things today, things the others don't know. I'm going to share it with everyone. They'll think I'm so clever. I'll surely become the darling of Lee Jalan. Hee hee. Do 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 do.
Makes sense, you know? The game doesn't work the same as previous Mario Karts where you do like 3 laps of a solid stage. That's just not how it works in this game. There's some stages that kind of work like that, the odd few here and there, but most of them are not like that, like Boo's.
Mortal, I told them about the people from the past, but they weren't the least bit impressed. Well, why should we pay any mind to those who are long dead? Much more than fun thinking of new riddles while sipping nectar. Speaking of which, we found this really sweet-smelling flower recently. We're about to go and collect its nectar if you wanted to join us. No, I don't want to join you, I want to admire me! Stranger and stranger. Alright, suit yourself. That didn't work at all. They didn't think any better of me. But I won't give up. Not yet. I'm going to be popular. Mark my words. Knowing things didn't make me popular. But there has to be some other way. Don't you have any other ideas? Acquire a skill. A skill to be envied. Oh, I know. One of those books at Urianche's home had lovely pictures in it. If I could draw as beautifully, the others are bound to be impressed. Right, I'm going to collect some fine grass for making a brush. Meanwhile, could you get me what I need for the paint? East of the village, there are trees that have orange leaves. Their sap makes excellent paint, and I want you to harvest it. Be careful when handling the sap, though. It gives off the smell that attracts ferocious beasts. Of course it does. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Stage, for instance. It's not 3 laps of Boo's stage in this game, and I hate that. I hate that really it only feels like we're getting 1 lap of Boo's stage. The other 2 laps were just going to Boo's stage, if that makes sense, and I absolutely despise that. I was streaming this game to a lot of people
nobody
who
likes
come
that.
in, and you know, we couldn't help but comment on the fact of how a lot of the game feels like a straight line, and it genuinely doesn't feel like it has the
hell is
hecticness
that?
of Mario Kart that we're all used to in this game from the previous games, and that's because it's completely structured differently. It's like they want us doing like 2, sometimes
What the
3
hell is
laps going
primal
towards the
ruination?
stage. Then when we actually get to the stage, we get to do a lap of it, and that part is amazingly fun, but it doesn't work like the previous games where we got to do like 3 laps of that. I really hope there's going to be like a mode in the game in the future where they let us do 3 laps of the normal courses, because I feel like that is actually a huge thing that the game is missing, especially because it's not a game where you take part in the free roaming and then the Grand Prix is within the free roaming, which is kind of how the game was advertised in the first place. But that's not really what we ended up getting. They're 2 completely separate things. So if they were going to have Grand Prix be a separate thing in the menu like before, why not make the Grand Prix as solid as it was in the previous games? Because that's just not what's here. The game genuinely feels like it's missing something core to Mario Kart design because it doesn't have the same structure as the previous games. And I really don't want to be somebody who's like, okay, we'll just go back to Mario Kart 8 if we want to do that. Mario Kart 8 was a great game, but I expected more of that awesomeness going into Mario Kart World, and that's just like not what's here. Like I say, I do love the stages that feel like they function similarly to the older games, but that's because of that. There's actually nothing about Mario Kart World that I love that is unique to Mario Kart World on its own. That's my problem with this game right now. And I do have to say, I don't think the online of this game is that good. The modes that we get in online are not that great because it doesn't have something like Classic Grand Prix. Basically, the only good thing online in this game, as far as I'm concerned, is the Knockout Tour, and that's where we fight 24 players, and it can kind of get pretty hectic because there's so many players on the screen, and I just don't know if that is going to keep people invested enough to keep doing Knockout Tour after Knockout Tour after Knockout Tour, because it's very samey. And I honestly do think that the online needs a Classic Grand Prix added to the game. These are areas about the game that make me feel like it is unfinished. I don't think the player base will keep playing this game forever if something doesn't get added to online or doesn't get added to the main game as a whole, because the replayability factor is not as high as previous Mario Karts, in my honest opinion. I've played every mainline Mario Kart over the years, from the very first one on the SNES, and there's always a case to be made that the one that came after it is straight up better than the one before in some aspects. And this is the first Mario Kart where I can honestly say that it is a weaker entry than the game before. Now, I don't know if the game is going to keep getting better through updates over time, but I do feel like for the money they were charging for this game, $80, it should have been a lot more than what it is day one. And it's also missing features like 200cc that's been in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for a long time. So not having it here on day one for Mario Kart World is inexcusable as far as I'm concerned. There's a lot of things about this game that feel lazy, and I just don't understand it. The game should have been better for day one as far as I'm concerned, and There's a lot of areas where the game can be improved, and I'm sure that the game will improve, but for the first time, like I said earlier, it genuinely feels like we are playing a legit half version of what a game is supposed to be here from Nintendo. And because of the price they're asking for, that's just not right as far as I'm concerned. You will have a lot.
We now have the official reviews for Mario Kart World and the Metacritic score that we can actually compare to past Mario Kart games. But we now know the major pros and cons that a lot of major reviewers actually gave this game, and what's different this time is with the reviews, it's actually come a lot later than normal because no one really got early access to Mario Kart World and Nintendo Switch 2 per se, so we're all kind of on this fresh start together. And I've played a lot of Mario Kart World, but I'm not giving my full review yet. Mine's going to be a full, detailed, probably over an hour-long review over every little aspect of the game. But I will give you some of my early thoughts, so think of this as everybody else's review video in my preview video, where I give you some of my opinions on, you know, what I feel is justified with everybody's reviews. But enough yapping and talking, let's actually get into the reviews. Right now, Mario Kart World is sitting at an 87 from major reviewers, and for the general audience score, it's at an 8.1. Comparing this to other Mario Kart games, it's tied right now at 5th place with Mario Kart Double Dash, both at an 87. Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U had an 88, Mario Kart 3DS, which is Mario Kart 7, had a 91, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe had a 92. But nothing so far is beating Mario Kart Super Circuit with a 93. So obviously when we compare it to other Mario Kart Metacritic scores, it's kind of middle of the road, not really all the way up there. But let's move on and see what other reviewers are actually saying. Now, pretty much every review that I've read has been exactly the same. I mean, I think everybody has the same problems and same likes and dislikes, but I'm going to go through them where some of the major ones and, you know, what they said and, you know, their opinions on the game. For instance, GameSpot said it was a nearly perfect game, but lacking in the open world department. They even loved the battle mode, which is very weird, and they thought it was actually really good and not an afterthought, which I don't know how to feel about that one, but yeah, they loved this game for the most part. Their only real gripe is the open world, where they felt like it was kind of undercooked and there wasn't too much to do. I feel like that was their only major takeaway, which resulted in GameSpot giving the game a 9 out of 10. Nintendo Life also greatly praised this game and said it was phenomenal and really good, but the only problem once again is the open world. It gets stale after a while, and after a few hours they really thought something else was going to be included, but nope, it's just the same P-Switch missions and collectathon around a vast open world that seems kind of pointless. But other than that, Nintendo Life also gave the game a 9 out of 10. But this is where we start to see more of the negatives come up, with IGN and Switch Up on YouTube. IGN had a lot of issues with the game. They said that the intermissions were sometimes very boring, that it was a mix of some good ones, but also a lot of straight driving and not a lot going on some of the intermissions. They also said that it had bad rubber banding with item, where there were so many instances of people in dead last flinging all the way to the front couple of slots in a matter of seconds because of how crazy the item loot pool can be at times. IGN also points out various reasons the game is kind of bare bones in certain areas, missing some dedicated features, 200cc, a way to toggle what music you want to hear through like a radio station, and the lack of online modes. And considering the fact that I didn't even know this one, apparently you still can't join up with friends before going on online random matches against others. You have to actually have one person join an online match, and you have to wait for a slot that opens up if you want to join your friends when they're playing online, which is just so silly to me. Now, IGN actually enjoyed the free roam missions and said that they had some fun with the different variety of difficulty and, you know, mission objectives, which seemed to be pretty interesting for the most part. But they also said that the free roam needed some little things to just kind of expand on it, but they were probably the ones that were as harsh and as critical on free roam as every other reviewer was. But they pretty much just said overall the game needs some updates and it could very well become one of the best Mario Karts ever. It's just definitely missing some content here and there. IGN ended up giving the game an 8 out of 10. And then finally with Switch Up, they had big complaints as well. They really hate the open world, and they felt like it was just a wasted potential and something that Nintendo should have really invested heavily in, especially as a launch title for Switch 2. They claimed that little was done to this world, and they were constantly looking for something to surprise them, and after hours and hours of playing, they would never come up on that something. That even after 20 minutes, they thought for sure there had to be something else, and there just never was. They expected little Easter eggs or little things to happen to just give that Nintendo charm in the overworld, like running into one of the cop cars driven by Shy Guys or Koopa Troopas, and then they would chase after you a little bit, kind of like a cartoon chase getaway. Nothing like GTA, but something that's a little cute nod to things that you can do and interact with in the overworld. But nothing. Once again, they honestly just felt like the game needed more things to do, especially since most, new console releases come with a big single-player experience and adventure, and the fact that they felt like there's not going to be much for them to do after too long with this game felt very light in content, and they just wished they were a lot more ambitious with the open world. Now, at least on their video review, they didn't leave a review score, but looking at other reviewers such as Eurogamer, they gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Most people gave it a 4 out of 5, a 9 out of 10, or an 8 out of 10, and that's exactly why we have our 87 on Metacritic right now. I don't like to look at the user score because I see a lot of people are just review bombing it as users because it's $80, and that's just a whole thing in and of itself, and I'll make one final video talking about the price and is Mario Kart World worth that price, but not until I completely finish the game, because I want to make sure that I get every aspect of this game before I unjustly and unfairly give it, an opinion based on is it worth $80, and I haven't even finished all the content. I don't know why people do that. But once again, I'm not giving my full reviews, I'm just giving my early thoughts. As I played a lot of the game so far and put in a lot of hours in each mode, I'm still not ready to give you guys my final verdict, but this is what I had to say in my takeaway. I kind of agree along the lines with IGN. I think IGN's review was almost perfect. So far, out of all the reviews that I've read, I definitely agree with them the most. It feels like after 11 years, our expectations are through the roof for the next Mario Kart game, as they should be. And especially as a launch title, I feel like the game should be spewing at the seams with content, with little things, big things, tons of modes, and tons of effort in everything that's put into the game. And that includes a huge free roam open world mode. And I think my problem right now is trying to combine two new mechanics that Nintendo has in this game, being the trick system and the open world. And I feel like maybe those two don't mesh, because where the game is at its best, I feel like, is with the trick system. You can pull off some absolutely incredibly unique tricks, wall flips, and rail rides within the actual tracks of the game, where it's kind of hard to pull off any of these things when it comes to the actual intermission tracks, where it's just a lot of straight roads and using your items in order to just drive through grass to get ahead. That is where I feel like those two things don't mesh correctly, so I do have some of the same complaints at IGN. I feel like some of the intermission tracks are still extremely boring, like I was fearing before the game came out. There's a lot of straightaways. There's a lot of moments where the game relies on the items to do the track design and not the track itself. There's so many gameplay clips I have of me just getting a golden mushroom or a mega mushroom and driving through the grass in order to get ahead of the pack, instead of doing cool tricks and flips like you could with the actual tracks. I kind of wish the game was more focused on the tracks themselves rather than this open world intermission straightaways that they do focus on. From what I've seen online and on Twitter and like a lot of people's gameplay clips, their strategies are just to kind of hang out around second and third, just bag a bunch of good items and wait to the very last second in order to use them, and you're pretty much guaranteed to win every single time because of the lack of a blue shell or major items hitting you. And yes, I cannot believe that there's no option to actually join your friends in a group before all jumping on the world stage online. It's just like, come on. What year is it and we still can't just join an official group party with friends and then party up into a game together? Why isn't this a thing? And it actually now is starting to really scare me for Splatoon 4. I believe it's a lot better in Splatoon 3, but still, it's just like, come on, these are basic things, basic online functions that's been going on since like the Xbox 360 days, Nintendo. But with all that said, it really is a testament to how good this game is, because it has a lot of problems, but I'm addicted to this game. I mean, I haven't been this addicted to a game in a very long time. I can't stop. There's so much about this game that's just addicting. The open world, I was actually very worried about, and I thought for sure that I'd get bored after a while because there's no story mode or main thing to do. But man, I could do these P-switches all day. Even the easy ones, even the hard ones, they're just fun to complete and look for and find. You can find all the little panels and the peach coins. I wish there was a tracker. That hurts so bad to me that there's no way to actually track these things down. But man, I love finding them. It's like a little adrenaline boost when I see a blue P-switch just sitting there in the grass somewhere, and then I gotta go hit it and see what that mission's gonna be. The missions might have the same objective, like going through gold rings or collecting blue coins, you know, but at the end of the day, it's fun how they actually handle them. I mean, I've only done like 40 or 50 of them in one selective area of the map, which is like the middle by Peach's Castle, and I've had a blast. I think total there's like over 400 that I've seen somebody actually post, but yeah, that's insane. There's so many of these things to find and complete, and they're so different from one another. But I also very much agree with Switch Up. There's something very interesting about going through an open world and finding secret things that you can talk about with your friends, or for a content creator like me, that I can actually post about, you know, and say, hey, go to this location and check out what you can do here. Yeah, I really do wish there was more interaction things, like certain NPCs could give you special missions or do some special thing that you find and you're like, oh, that's so cool, I gotta tell my friend about this. Just like they said, running into one of the cop cars, maybe we'd have them chase you. Maybe you could stumble across some type of secret cave or back alley that has some reference to a past Mario Kart game. Something like that would have been really, really cool to come across on. And it's funny because Nintendo was like the company that's good at little Easter eggs and secrets and stuff like that. I mean, Breath of the Wild was filled with them, and HAL Labs did a great job with a linear 3D Kirby experience, still having tons of Easter eggs and secrets to find in every single level. And it wasn't even open world. So yeah, it's actually very shocking and surprising they have this giant open world, and at times it just feels so underbaked. Would I love to see boss battle missions and maybe even a full-fledged story mode to utilize this world more? Of course, definitely. I'd still really, really wish that happened. It would have been a dream come true to see something like that. But I am very much having a blast with these P-switch missions, and it's a lot more fun than I ever thought it was going to be. If I was a kid right now, I promise you this would be the coolest thing in history. Just driving around and just being stupid, running into things, taking over semis, crushing things, and just driving through cities. It'd be a blast. This is exactly what I've always wanted as a kid. So to see this now is just like, I kind of envy children because they're probably enjoying this way more than I even am, and I'm enjoying it a lot. But still, I think the free roam is great. I think this game is great. I think there's so many good things about it, but once again, I'm just so conflicted because there's so many.
Hearken to me, O spirits of the water. We are come with an entreaty. Not in a talkative mood, apparently. I'm not exactly sure where the gate works. But if the Ffxiv are water spirits, perhaps we should take our search into the lake. Oh? I suppose a brief dip wouldn't hurt. We all know a Thancred swims like an eel, but what about you, Minfilia? I can swim well enough. Thancred taught me. Excellent. What about you, Orianjay? I'm not sure I have ever asked. He can't.
Rather than swim, mayhap it would be more expeditious to walk upon the surface by means of magic. Ba 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 da ba ba da ba 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 da ba ba da bum ba da ba bum 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 ba 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 da ba 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 bum 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 bum.
Well, well, aren't we a lively lot? And you have an entreaty for us, you say? An entreaty from mortals. What a treat.
Aye, my comrades and I are on a quest to vanquish the Light Warden. To that end, we would humbly beg the loan of the Shell Crown, which we are now given to understand is in the safekeeping of your people.
Oh, is that all? Of course, you may have it. You shall have it.
Just like that, what do you want from us?
Woo-hoo-hoo, no need to be so suspicious. The crown simply doesn't mean much to us is all. As a matter of fact, nothing means much to us, for we fought. It's over before it's begun, and we couldn't care less what becomes of the Fairy King, nor the world for that matter. Having said that, we do so seldom have mortal visitors, and it would seem a shame not to make the most of you. Touch the untouchable gate and come hither to our domain, Don Meg. In your tongue it means Forbidden Realm. Sounds forbidding, yes? And so it should, for we are one with the water, our home wrought of ripples and weaves and currents. Find your way through, give us thrilling sport, and we will give you the crown. Don Meg now accessible. No trial, huh?
Why did I close YouTube? Surely there's something to watch.
So bad. Man, I wish new patch will be installed as soon as possible. Because it also gonna increase loot drop in many areas, since they're gonna delete 10 Hellgates basically. Title is not right, please. What title is on Twitch right now? On Twitch we do have... No, title is correct. SBI cancel auto attack change. There was a post on Reddit from Retroman, and he confirmed that they wanna polish this system first, and after that they only gonna add it into the game. So it is 4, 5 tab.
The Forbidden Land. on. Bum bum ba bum 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 ba 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 ba
but I would have it no other way. Seldom have I enjoyed such sport.
Yay!
You satisfied thy demands. Will thou now satisfy ours?
Of course. Of course. There it is, the relic you seek. Yours for the taking. Have care you do not break it, though, yes. Ah, but you, my friend, you are mighty indeed, and pleasing to the eye besides.
More? I want to see more of him.
Ah, popular.
Yes, yes, I could watch him forever.
Oh dear, they want to keep you. They want to keep you.
Why don't we just make him one of us? Yes, one of us. One of us, one of us, one of us. One of us, one of us, one of us. One of us, one of us, one of us.
What a fine idea! Why ever didn't I think of that? You may have the crown, but in exchange, we will have you!
Wake up! Wake up, damn you!
This is not how I imagined the end of my journey. Ba, 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 ba.
You're alive. Thank the gods. I don't know where you learned to breathe underwater, but it's lucky you can.
Da 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 ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba.
I'm sure you had your reasons. The first rule of dealing with the Ffxiv is do not deal with the Ffxiv. It's said that they are born from the souls of the drowned. Were it not for your little trick, you'd have joined them. Your friends are safely back on dry land, in case you were wondering. They'll be searching for you, I expect.
Da 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 da.
That's the royal capital of the Kingdom of Ffxiv down there. It's seen better days. They were a stubborn lot, the Verbatites. Set in their ways. But once you got to know them, you couldn't find a more welcoming people. It always froze over in winter, being up in the mountains. So we'd pull up our chairs round the fire and trade tales over steaming bowls of lamb stew, while the street lamps burned hot and bright outside. All dead and buried now. Them and anyone else who might remember. Everything we did. Everything we gave. What was it for? I wonder. I hope you'll have a better answer than this when all's said and done.
Oh dear. Let me see here. I'll do a little more. Ba 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 ba.
Mortals are here. Lots of them.
I thought you said the new Mu were men's best friends. The poor thing was beside itself with fear. 'Twas beside itself, perhaps, but not with fear.
This is unacceptable. Unacceptable, I tell you, to have so many mortals appear at once. It's more excitement than we can bear.
Greetings, Elder Widaning, Tierney. It hath been a while. Pray forgive my brevity, but time is against us. We are come to borrow the stone scepter of the new Mu.
The stone scepter? Then you mean to lift the seal over Ligalan? That is unacceptable, I tell you. If the king is set free, none here will be safe. Unlike our Fey cousins, we New Mu have called this land our home since time immemorial. Leaving is unthinkable. Thus did many of us lay down our lives to seal away our king when they were corrupted by light. If we do as you ask, our sacrifice would have been in vain.
Don't worry, we'll defeat Titania.
But then you'll only become another Light Warden. It changes nothing.
Honored Elder, pray believe me when I say this man is possessed not only of the strength required to vanquish the king, but of something still more valuable, a means to resist the resultant corruption. Indeed, he hath already laid low the Light Warden of Lakelands, all without succumbing to the influence of its light. He is yet a stranger to this land, 'tis true, but he harboureth the selfsame desire to see the Sin-Eaters eliminated as we do. Wilt thou not lend us a hand that we might see thy beloved come home restored to its former glory?
You have always done right by us, Oriange. If you have placed your faith in this man, then so shall we. As you say, we want nothing more than to be rid of the Sin-Eaters. Be that as it may, this is not a decision to be made lightly. We require time to deliberate. A turn of the moon, perhaps.
We don't have a turn of the moon, unless we want to debate this with the Yulmoran army. Elder, given all that is at stake, I cannot well expect thee simply to roll over and acquiesce to our request. But even now a powerful foe draweth near, and I fear we must beseech thee to hasten thy deliberations, that thou might fetch us the scepter while there is yet time to use it.
Roll over? Fetch? Ah! You know full well that naught gives us greater pleasure than to render aid to men. You know full well, yet you speak the words of power regardless. It's unfair. Unfair, I tell you. In happier times, it was our honor to assist mortals in need and receive rewards befitting our deeds. Since the kingdom of Verbert fell, however, we've been starved of men's patronage. After so many years of deprivation, it is difficult to ignore such an earnest entreaty. Very well, Oriange. I promise to give you as swift an answer as I may. In return, I ask that you and yours remain here a while and bestow upon us your patronage. Is this arrangement agreeable? You will offer your patronage to our people too, yes? Ba 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 ba.
da da. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Southeast, is it? Ah. Little jumping puzzle, how cute. Fortunately, it's easy. One thousand 182, 1183, 1184. Wait, did I already count that leaf? Wait, you're immortal! Huzzah! Huzzah! Well met, yes, very well met indeed. Have you old and tired arms and armor that are threatening to fall apart at critical junctures in battle? If you answered yes, you've come to the right no move. I will restore your equipment to pristine condition for a payment of a small pair a pair of moss fungus legs. Okay. Oh dear. Ah, you were returned with the moss fungus legs, I hope. Ah. They are tools of my trade, lest you wonder, used to polish metal and leather alike to a lustrous sheen. Now that I have work again, I must replenish my stores. Huzzah! 2 moss fungus legs as befits the work. Ah, to have neither more nor less expected of us than what we can provide, there is no greater joy. You see, for there to be honor in a task, we must receive precisely what it is worth. Too little means you belittle our ability, too much means you question our integrity. You've given me fitting payment, so my services are at your disposal. I shall begin by inspecting your equipment. Da, 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 da. I see. Though I must ask for a small fee for the materials, I'm pleased to say that all of your arms and armor may be restored if you mean to change them in the near future. However, there is no need to worry. My first repair is complimentary. Here's the coin which you may pay me with when you desire to have more work done. Many thanks for your patronage. I'm gonna stop here. It's been 2 hours, so